For those of you that remember the 2012A NASA RallyCross Challenge season, you're going to be surprised that in 2013C, the NASA RallyCross Challenge is back at the Island Rallycross Circuit in Long Island, New York, for the first of 2 endurance rounds on this season's schedule. As they were a very fantastic success in 2012A, and for the longest time, the fans said, no, the racing is too strung out, and now with 18 cars, NASA officials think it will be a fantastic idea to bring back the endurance rounds. Hello, everyone. It's Josh Mertz up in the commentary box, bringing you the call for the Automotive Sports Network today, as this broadcast is brought to you by Java Shot Designs. If you need any painting done for any of your racing interests, you can contact Adam Sweet at his page at facebook.com/JavaShotDesigns. Join the conversation at hashtag ASNTVUSA if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions. So, let's get right to it, shall we? Rally format for this race. It's an 18-car field today. We will have 4 heats, 3 laps apiece. The top 2 in each heat will advance to the final. The others move to the LCQ. The LCQ will be 2 laps. The top 2 from that race advance to the final. And the final itself will be 10 drivers for 6 laps around this circuit. I believe it's about 2.5 miles long, so hence the endurance and hence the tad shorter races, time-wise, will be the same exact amount of time that a normal race would be. So let's get to it, shall we? Heat number 1 is already getting ready to go. We will have Nick Cars on the outside pole. That's going to be Tristan Hagenstein on pole. Those of you remember, he was the one that voiced our onboard lap for that race. Hagenstein, Lambert, Bellamy, and Cars will be your grid for this race. You see it's a difference from last time he raced here in 2012A. The grid is now at the end of the pit lane instead of halfway into turn 1. So let's try and find a camera. Looks like that camera will be good enough. As we are waiting for the cars to get ready and lined up here, we have a Privateer Ford, a Works Volkswagen, as NASA officials actually reverted the Volkswagen team back to Works status. We have no reason why, but all we know is that in the press box, there was a piece of paper that said VW is a Works team again. That's all we know, so that's all we can tell you. Daniel Bellamy returns in his private Subaru, following the Works Ford of Nick Cars. As we're revving him up for heat number 1, it's lights out, and away we go! Off the line, Hagenstein gets a terrible start because of that asphalt, and it's going to let Brandon Lambert jump into the lead in car number 5. Sliding into the second corner, Nick Cars in second, Tristan Hagenstein in third. Let's see who bites over the jump, and nobody. Cars was sideways, but he saved it. As you can already tell, the dirt, the track officials laid down a lot of water to make this track really, really slippery, as the last time we raced here, the cars were gripped up, and it didn't seem like it was rally cars. It seemed like there were Formula 1 cars around this track, as Hagenstein and Bellamy are tangling halfway through the lap here, as Lambert will sneak out to an early lead in car number 5, followed by Cars, and then Bellamy and Hagenstein are battling for third, as this really is endurance, as you can't go off the track too early, otherwise you'll end up like Daniel Bellamy, way far behind the field. Cars is sideways. Hagenstein on the grass there. You're allowed to have 3 wheels off into the sand, although the sand slows you down, but you should see some drivers cutting that to get a good run out of the corner. So it's going to allow Cars and Hagenstein, this is going to allow them to battle. Cars is off the track. Hagenstein battling with him. These 2 drivers are side by side, beating and banging. These 2, actually the top 3 in this heat. Cars is off the road. He's off the road. He's going on the mountain. This is not going to end very well, and plows into the concrete pillar for the Pirelli Bridge. He's going to try and get that car refired. Looks like he will be okay, as Brandon Lambert will lead lap 1 here at Island Rally. I was mentioning the top 3 in this heat ran the inaugural race here, as I believe 6 of the original 9 drivers are here for today's race, so it's going to be nostalgia for them, but the cars handle a lot differently than that day in 2012A. As Lambert, that 2012A champion, I believe he finished second in that race, and that propelled him to the 2012A championship, you could say, as he did not show up for Croft that season, and he actually showed up, but he arrived late to the circuit, and by the time he arrived, the race was over. So NASA officials gave him the 10th place, and because of Josh Mertz's 15th place, that's how Lambert won the championship. As Lambert over the jump in car number 5, followed by Hagenstein, followed by Bellamy, and Cars, due to his accident, has fallen back to 4th place. As Lambert slipping and sliding, that hairpin there, if you get on the brakes, it locks up the car, and it's not very fun unless you can manage the wheel spin and get the car to turn. You're pretty much out of luck. As the top 2 in your shot there, it was Lambert and Hagenstein, followed by Bellamy, and followed by Cars. As Bellamy is sideways onto the mountain, we're going to be referring to that grass as the mountain, as it typically is, or kind of is a mountain compared to the track. White flag for Lambert in car number 5 of the Volkswagen, followed by Hagenstein in the Team Klondike car. So let's see if Hagenstein, according to the lap times, he is 0.3 of a second quicker than Brandon Lambert, so we will see if he can take the fight to the Volkswagen driver. Currently leading privateer standings is Hagenstein. And the only 2 drivers that are really in contention for that championship are Hagenstein and Caleb Paul. As we have a bunch of privateers, Bellamy will be on that list as well. This is going to be a battle for 3rd spot, speaking of Bellamy and Cars, as it looks as though Lambert's going to drive away with this heat win. As Hagenstein sideways! He's upside down! He's tumbling into the forest! Let's see if he can get the car refired. Cars is going to take the first hairpin. I don't believe it! Tristan Hagenstein barrel rolls the Ford Focus, and he's continuing to drive, and he's in the transfer spot. I've never seen that before. As Lambert clear in the lead, Hagenstein is still clear in second. That's where Hagenstein was barrel rolling, and Cars just got there. So let's see the gap. It's going to be Lambert through the second hairpin, followed by Hagenstein going through there, and Cars, yeah, he's got that position on lock, you could say. He's not going to push it as Hagenstein. Maybe there's something catastrophically wrong with that car. I would assume there's something catastrophically wrong, as he just went barrel rolling up a hill and into the forest. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter for Lambert. On the front row, he will be winning heat number 1. As you may think that that's a bad idea for him to win, as the first gate we saw from Hagenstein on pole doesn't exactly equate to a good start. And after barrel rolling, second place goes to Hagenstein, so the Great Lakes Motorsports Team Klondike team maybe have to go under the hood in that car and see if something's catastrophically wrong. And first to the LCQ will be Nick Cars in car number 35, along with Daniel Bellamy in the 199, and a catastrophic suspension failure, it looks like, as into the fence he went. As we're going to take a look at what happened on the start, and then we're going to take a look at what happened with Tristan Hagenstein's barrel roll. So once the cars get lined up here on our replay, as we don't have the best replay software here we go. We're going to see Hagenstein's on pole. He's going to have to deal with all that asphalt, and maybe they should have laid some dirt down for that inside gate, as pole position's supposed to get the best run into the corner, but it doesn't look like it, as Hagenstein deals with all the wheel spin, and it allows Lambert to get the start that he needs to propel himself into the first corner. Now we're going to take a look at Hagenstein's barrel roll, and I'm surprised. I think he hit a little embankment. There's a few embankments in this track that are really weird, and it's remarkable that car survived. We're going to take a look here. So here he is in car number 27, hits the dirt, and it just tosses him right over. And it looks as though as soon as he flips, he almost got turtled there, but luckily the momentum was on his side. He was able to get the car flipped over. Jumps down onto the racing surface, and the number 27 continues without an issue. So let's go to heat number 2 now, as those drivers are out on the pit lane getting ready to go. As in this heat, it looks as though we will have Josh Mertz in car number 81 on the outside pole. Douglas Speed will be on the inside pole. Jake Pipal will be in second in the ATN Auto Sport car. Then it's Keith Sherman. Then it's Josh Mertz. So that's the heat order, and it looks like Pipal, he's never raced before. He's one of the newcomers. Looking like he's trying to get into the order here. So it's Speed, Pipal, Sherman, excuse me, than Mertz, as I was thinking about Lambert's victory in heat number 1. So here we go. We are revving them up, and for heat number 2, who will win? It's lights out, and away we go, and off the line, Mertz has the jump over the rest of the field. Pipeball side by side with him. Let's see if he can take the fight to the 81. It doesn't look like it. Into turn 1 they go. Mertz will lead. Pipeball second. Sherman third. Speed fourth. Side-by-side contact between the 31 and 15, and it's going to shove Sherman off the road. He spun it. He is back going again. As a little tidbit here, if Mertz cannot win this race, the following Tuesday will be 1 year since he last won. I believe that was mentioned last week at Valkenswaard. 2012 C. St. Eustache was the last time the 81. He was then the 1 on top of the podium. And he hopes he could get on top of the podium today, if at all, because you never know when your time in racing will run out. As Jake Pipeball battling with Douglas Speed for the second spot here. Mertz has got a good advantage over these two, as these two are going to be battling for the transfer spot. Off the road, Speed in car number 31. Keith Sherman in 4th. And Mertz tiptoeing around. Cody Erdman is here, his teammate, and currently spotter. I'm looking on my commentary box, and I see Erdman on the 81 pit gantry with the headset on, as those two drivers, each other's spotters when they're not racing. So you can surely know that Erdman probably relaying the gaps to the car number 81. His teammate and friend will lead here at the end of lap number 1. It's going to be 2 to go, and it's going to be a battle. Looked as though Douglas Speed could get it, but it looked like he had bad wheel spin off the final corner, or he couldn't get a good run. And that allows Pipeball to get into the second spot securely as Mertz rounds the first 2 corners here. Remember, that was where his race came unglued with Elliott Porterfield. Porterfield had a timing and scoring transponder issue. When we picked him up, he was exiting the pit lane, and there was a big wreck between those two. That last lap was chaotic in Island Rally 5 seasons ago. It's crazy to think that we're on the 6th season of the NASA RallyCross Challenge. You could say the more things change, the more they stay the same, as I believe we're running every single circuit that we ran that season. If I can do a little mental calculation here. We are indeed. So all 6 circuits of the original season are back on the schedule here in 2013 C. As Croft, Valkenswaard, Island Rally. As, oh, Mertz, that's a little bit of a moment. He hit the embankment. That's not what you're supposed to do. As Douglas Speed off the road as well in car number 31. Keith Sherman in 4th. Almost thought he was going to bin the car there. But Croft, Valkenswaard, Island Rally, Riverside, St. Eustache, and Negus. Those were the original 6 tracks, and we are running those tracks along with Charlotte, Talladega, Las Vegas, and the 4th round is eluding me at the moment. It'll probably come back to me at the worst of times. As Mertz leads in car 81. White flag for the 81. Currently, according to lap times, 138.569. He is first. Then it is Pipeball, looks like, in second with a 139.829. Douglas Speed with a 142.522. And then Keith Sherman with a 144.243. And the track, the drivers in practice ran a little bit on the track before it was wet down. They were running 128 second laps without the aid of the, or without, with all that grip, rather, as my brain just kind of fell apart. They were running 128s, I believe, with all the grip. And in practice, when they were all getting brave, I believe Tanner Smith got a 128.6 without all this grip. So the drivers, once they get brave, they pick up a lot of time. And currently, Mertz a 138. That is a decent race pace. Most of the drivers running that as well. Tanner Smith, Dylan Livingood, Brandon Lambert, the works teams here. As we're on the final lap, Mertz is going to be entering the final corner. And it's going to be, I believe, a 6th consecutive heat victory as he's going to slow down and salute his crew. He did this in the first season as well. The only heat win he missed was Charlotte. Otherwise, he'd have about 10 in a row as he wins heat number 2. And Dylan living in race control asking, did you really just do that? And Mertz replied, yes, I did, as transferring in his first race will be Jake Pipehall in car 28. And Douglas Speed misses out, along with Keith Sherman. So the Subaru and the Ford will be to the LCQ here as a result of heat number 2. As heat number 3 will now be up and running. As once these drivers get around the track here. As here we go. Here's Chris Wetz in car number 2. Jake Poulin in car number 39. On pole will be Dylan Livingood in car number 1. Remember, him and Lambert came together at this race. And then it's Chris Wetz, Jacob Kraus, Luke Fleming, and Jake Poulin. So we have the Works Mitsubishis, the Semi-Works Citroens, and a private Citroen. As I believe, if I heard the paddock right, that was actually Mertz's Citroen as we're revving him up. For heat number 3, it's lights out, away we go, off the line. Pole sitter gets a terrible start, maybe changed. Livingood got the whole shot, surprisingly off the grid, the first grid spot. And into turn number 1, Kraus is in second. Livingood leads, off the road goes Kraus. Poulin, contact with him, the 2 Citroens are off the road. And Chris Wetz is contact with Poulin and Fleming, leaves the only the only Mitsubishis rather, as the only cars to survive. There's a little satellite issue there, and we're back. As Livingood leads, Wetz is second. Poulin in the private Citroen is off the road on the bank. As I was mentioning before the start, I believe that's actually Mertz's private Citroen from Season 1. I knew that with the accident with Lambert, Mertz broke the steering arm. I believe he gave him a steering arm and said, here, I'll give you a car. You want to race? It was a good car. Gave me 2 podium and a half, you could say. He's battling with Luke Fleming for third. Are the 3 Citroens as the 2 Mitsubishis are pulling away. As Dylan Livingood leads, followed by his teammate Chris Wetz. As diving in was Poulin on Fleming. Off the road goes Kraus as he's trying so hard is Jake Poulin. As the 2 Mitsubishis are just setting sail compared to the rest of the field. So off the final corner, Wetz is off the road. Livingood was running wide. And the radio channel for Revolution Racing opened up and Livingood busted out laughing. To the inside goes Fleming for second spot. Can he get it? 2 laps to go. He got it. So Fleming is in second. Can he hold off Chris Wetz? The race winner from last week. Revolution Racing has swept the 2 races so far in the 2013 C season. As Fleming, a transponder issue in car number 84. And it looks as though something broke and the transponder quit at the same time, so maybe something broke in the suspension and it hit the transponder because we lost him there for a moment. So it looks as though he's trying to figure out if the car will function or not. There he goes. I don't think it was too bad because he's pulling out of the sand and he's going back again. As there's Kraus in car number 83 in 4th place, Poulin in 3rd, Wetz 2nd, and your leader is currently Dylan Livingood with a lap and a half left and a lap and a half complete here at the Island Rallycross circuit. The first of the 2 endurance rounds, the 3rd round of 10 in the 2013 C NASA Rallycross Challenge season. And I believe, I'm not exactly sure if this is true or not, but the NASA officials are going to have a mini championship for the 2 endurance rounds, although that's unofficial and I'm not sure if they said that. I could be hearing things. But if so, I'm sure that's just for glory. But if there are prizes announced, we will hear of them, even if it's not even going to happen. Let's just ignore that ignore that even happened. But my grammar's terrible right now. Anyway, white flag, as I apologize for that, as I was zoning off, to be honest, as this race is in the hands of the 2 Revolution cars, and that's what kind of happens when you have a boring race here at the Island Rally Circuit. It's an endurance round, so you need to be paying attention to the intricate details. I don't even know what I'm saying. Living Good's leading. Wets is second. Poulin is third. He's trying to mount a charge, but he went off the track, and that might have been that. As we will see here what will happen if Poulin can mount a charge again. Looks like he might be too far back as Wets is off the track, and Living Good in that gorgeous Rockstar Mitsubishi pulling away from the rest of the field. According to lap times, his teammate 37.8. He ran a 38.4. Poulin a 39.7. Kraus a 49.2. And Fleming, due to the incident that he had in turn 1, a 2-minute 4.055 second lap. As I deeply apologize for that little banter of terrible grammar and terrible English skills. Someone put my phone next to me in the commentary box. I typically never commentate with my phone next to me. But they put my phone next to me in the commentary box, and I was looking at that, and I was trying to talk, and it wasn't exactly working. But alas, heat number 3 is about to come to a close, and it's going to be Dylan Livingood on the front row, and his teammate will be behind him. So it's going to be 2 Revolution cars in the final. Livingood wins heat number 3. And here comes Chris Wets in car number 2 to transfer through to the final as well, as Livingood immediately going to the burnouts like he normally does, and Wets will join him in car number 2. Pretty much a tradition for the Revolution boys to celebrate anything they can here in the NASA Rallycross Challenge, as Poulin will be 3rd, Fleming 4th, and Kraus, looks like he got a stop-go penalty, will be in the 5th position. As heat number 4 drivers on pit lane right now, as the Revolution boys are burning the house down here. They have a couple seconds to do that, as the field for heat number 4 is now on track. And this is going to be a 5-car heat, as I believe the last heat was a 5-car heat. This will be a 5-car heat as well. It's going to be Cody Erdman, Tanner Smith, Yao Paulo, Leonardo Bruno, and Caleb Paul. So we have a Works Citroen, a Works Volkswagen, a Semi-Works Subaru, a private Volkswagen, and a private Subaru. As we're revving them up for Heat 4, who will get the jump? And it's lights out, away we go! Not quite now it is. Erdman jumped the start. He let everyone by, though. He is perfectly fine to the regulations. Side by side, Bruno got the start. Smith has the inside. We will see who gets it into corner number 1. And it's going to be Bruno in 2nd, Smith in 3rd. Side by side, contact in midair was Caleb Paul. Wow! Why is it that every race that I have Caleb Paul in, something spectacular happens? As Tanner Smith, Leonardo Bruno, Cody Erdman, Caleb Paul, Yao Paulo. That's your order so far in heat number 4. And it's going to be Tanner Smith pulling away. Bruno, the private Volkswagen. He was in Valkenswaard last week, but only as an advisor to the 2 Delicia race team cars. Now he picked up his own Volkswagen from the VW team, and he's running a private car as Erdman shuffles through to 2nd spot behind Tanner Smith in the Works Volkswagen. As Smith pulling away, Erdman still under pressure from Leonardo Bruno in car number 54, as the drivers in this heat did not race here in 2012A. So all new drivers for this track in this heat. As Smith, Erdman, Bruno, Paul, Paulo. So around the final corner to end the first lap. It's going to be 2 laps to go for Tanner Smith as he's sliding the car. So is Erdman, so is Bruno. As can Tanner Smith pull away? I don't think lap times will register on timing and scoring, but if they do, let's wait a couple seconds here. The only 2 laps that are registering are Bruno and Paul in the 2-minute range, so something must be wrong with the transponders. They should be fixed at the end of this lap. As Smith, a little bit squirrely over the jump, so is Erdman, but it looks like Erdman got through there cleaner. As the Citroen driver smells blood, tastes blood. I still haven't gotten that saying right. Someone please inform me, that'd be wonderful. As I just now noticed that the Volkswagens do not have head or tail lights. They are blacked out. That is a very, very gorgeous car that the Volkswagen team has come up with in partnership with Monster Energy. And the Citroen team, for the 81 and 82, they have an equally good car, as Brandon Lambert actually designed most of these cars in the field. On the side of his RallyCross job, he does have a design business, and I can't advertise it directly because Java Shot Designs and Adam Sweet would not like me, but let's just say that Brandon Lambert designed the number 1, the number 81, 82, 83, 84, 513, and I believe, off the top of my head, I don't know any other drivers that he did design for. But the Citroen team, half of the Revolution team, and the Volkswagen team he designed for. But I'm not going to go into any further detail because Adam Sweet would probably shoot me in the face. So it's getting good here. We're going to have 1 lap to go in heat number 4, and it's going to be Tanner Smith. Can he hold on? 135, 143. Compared to Erdman, he goes P1 on the lap count. 135.037. Smith 135.143. Then it's Caleb Paul 37.1. Bruno 45.0. And Yao Paulo in car 41. 46.553, as it looks like Caleb Paul was sideways over the jump. As that's your top 3, only the top 2 advance. So if something catastrophic happens, Caleb Paul will get in, but right now he won't. As Erdman, pushing like mad, wants to be on the front row, wants to join his teammate, but I don't think it'll happen. As the Volkswagen of Tanner Smith, who holds the accolade for winning in his first start, I might add, Croft 2013B, as I'm getting mixed up with my seasons here. As Erdman pushing like mad to try and get to the 13, but I don't think it'll happen here. As we go to a wide shot, Smith and Erdman drifting it out wide, really pushing hard, but I don't think it'll happen. And this time I mean it. As we're running out of track for Cody Erdman to catch him, the gap is increasing. As Tanner Smith, all he has to do is get through the final corner and he'll be on the front row for his first start in 2013. See, Erdman pushing Matt off the road, but it's going to be Tanner Smith victorious in the final heat today in Island Rally, winning Heat 4. Erdman through, but it's going to be Caleb Paul, best of the rest, and the first car of this heat through to the LCQ. So it looks like Douglas Speed and Leonardo Bruno will be there as well. Bruno will finish in the 4th position. And off the road is Yao Paulo, and I believe he's behind the fence. So I don't think he's going to be finishing anytime soon. As Caleb Paul sideways over the jump, as Heat 2 will be in the LCQ. So once the drivers for the LCQ get on track, it looks as though that Caleb Paul is going to have to be towed around the racetrack. So here we go for the LCQ, and if you thought 4 or 5 cars were a cluster, just look at this. I'll hide the grid from you, and once they form up, I probably will hear your screams from your houses up here in the commentary box. If you're seeing correctly, that's 10 cars. Well, it'll be 10 cars. On pole will be Poulin in car 39. Sherman, Paulo, and Bellamy on the front row. Then it's going to be Cars, Bruno, Kraus, Caleb Paul. Then it's going to be Fleming and Douglas Speed. And the top 2 advance, and this is a 2-lap race. So last week at Valkenswaard, I was screaming out of the top of my lungs because of what Caleb Paul did. Will he do something interesting today? Let's see. 10 cars will fight for 2 spots in a 2-lap dash. And if you thought the heats were crazy, we'll see. 10 cars, 2 laps, 2 positions get through, and it's lights out, and away we go. Terrible start from Yao Paulo in the Subaru. Side by side goes Sherman and Bellamy. Into corner number 1, they will proceed to. Sherman gets a run. Bruno side by side with Bellamy. Caleb Paul's going to ball him out of the way. Contact. Bellamy's off the road. Speed's off the road as well. So, Sherman, Bruno, Paul to the inside of Bruno. Will he take the spot? It is an absolute brawl here so far. We've only gotten through 2 corners. Poulin wants to get through as well. Bruno's going to fight back on the outside as Sherman's off the road. Giving no room is Caleb Paul to Leonardo Bruno, and Bruno's off the road in the Volkswagen. So, Sherman, Paul, Poulin, Bruno, Cars, Paulo, Fleming and Kraus battling, Bellamy and Speed. So Cars off the road, Fleming plows into him, contact between Cars, Bellamy, and Kraus, flipping in the Citroen. So 5 cars are involved. No red flag from race control, I'm hearing, which was strange. Typically they would always red flag. Sherman off the road, gives up the lead in the LCQ to Caleb Paul. So Paul, Sherman, Poulin, Bruno, Paulo. That's the top 5. Let's reset 6 through 10. Fleming, Kraus, Speed, Cars, and Bellamy currently. So Caleb Paul leading the train of 4, including himself, in the LCQ. And there's going to be 1 lap to go in the LCQ. Can Keith Sherman hang on from Jake Poulin? Poulin's been pushing like mad. White flag for Caleb Paul. Can he get through in his second start this season? And to the inside, will go Poulin. Will he take the fight to Sherman? Let's see the different lines here, as I always find this camera to be fantastic. As over the jump goes Paul, Sherman in second, Poulin, Bruno. Bruno's off the road. 5th is Paulo, 6th Fleming, 7th Speed, 8th Kraus, 9th Cars, 10th Bellamy. 2 of these drivers in the LCQ will go home without points, as Bruno's off the road. And contact, I missed it, between Speed and Kraus. Looks like Speed will be back going again. Bellamy's stuck in the dirt. And it's going to be a brawl for the transport. Sherman off the road, and it's going to give the spot to Poulin in car number 39. As Bruno up on the bank, and it looks like he has gotten out of that Volkswagen, so he will be the first of 2 drivers without points today. As Caleb Paul leads, Poulin, Sherman, Paulo and Fleming will battle. As Kraus is around from 8th, and it's going to put him into 9th. And it looks like he won't be able to catch Bellamy, so he is the other car without points so far. As Sherman off the road onto the embankment. And this is not going to end very well, as Paulo and Fleming will battle. Sherman's still stuck in the sand. So will we see a battle between these two? As it is for 3rd, and this is currently 11th overall, as Caleb Paul will win the LCQ, and Jake Poulin in his first start will get through, as it was a brawl, but it has stopped for 3rd spot, as Luke Fleming, 11th place and 3rd in the LCQ, best of the rest. 4th place is Yao Paulo. 5th place will go to Douglas Speed. 6th place is Nick Cars. 7th place will be Keith Sherman. 8th place will be Daniel Bellamy. 9th is Jacob Kraus. And 10th is Leonardo Bruno. So let's go through the LCQ order really quickly. Fleming will be overall 11th. 12th will be, I believe, Yao Paulo. 13th Speed. 14th Cars. 15th Sherman. 16th Bellamy. 17th Kraus. And 18th will be Leonardo Bruno in car number 54. So the last 2 drivers will not get points. So now it's on to the final, the 6-lap final, and this is going to be a good race. As Dylan Livingood in car number 1, the 3 times triple consecutive defending drivers world champion, whichever terms you'd like to use, it would fit him pretty well. Josh Mertz, the 2012 B champion, who in 2 days has gone a year without winning, if he does not win today. So he has formed up alongside. The front row will be Lambert, Mertz, Livingood, and Tanner Smith. The second row of the grid will be Hagenstein, Poulin, Wetz, and Erdman. And the back row of the grid will be Caleb Paul and Jake Poulin. So those drivers can select their gates. And I made this mention last week, but it wasn't involving the previous race there. When we last came to Island Rally, we had 9 cars, and we have 10 in the final today. So I always mention it, and it's going to get good. 6 laps, 10 cars. Who will be victorious? We're revving them up for round 3, and it's lights out. Away we go. And off the line, looks like Smith did not go. Lambert did not go, and immediately it's sounding like a race restart. So it looks like, eerily, the launch control in both Volkswagens failed to disengage. And it kept the car stalled. So, the drivers will run around the track here as the launch control of the Volkswagens failed to start. It was eerie because their teammates and every other car went. Let's see if we can investigate that in more detail. So we're back at the grid. It's going to be Lambert, Mertz, Livengood, Smith. Then it's Hagenstein, Pipal, Wetz, Erdman, and then Caleb Paul with Jake Poulin. So, as Livengood pulls up to get into a better order here, this is going to be restart attempt number 1. I believe we have up to 3 attempts at a race restart, but it is unclear. As we will see if the Volkswagen's going to get off the line good here. Everyone getting lined up and ready to go to attempt a restart for round number 3 of the NASA RallyCross Challenge in 2013C. Everyone getting lined up, fine-tuning the lineup here, making sure everyone's even on the front row. Wetz is starting to rev him up, so is everyone else. Round number 3 of the NASA RallyCross Challenge. Restart number 1, it's lights out, and away we go. Whole shot to Livengood. Side by side, Smith and Mertz. And it's a brawl from there, from the helicopter. Mertz, Smith, side by side, Erdman with Lambert. He doesn't know he's there, possibly. Contact between the two drivers, sideways, and off the road is Erdman. Into the forest he goes. Around is Wetz in front of the field, and it looks like, hearing from race control, restart, restart, restart. Stuck in the sand was Smith, and Erdman is in the forest. So let's take a look really quickly as the cars are rounding their way around the track here. From spectator, let's take a look at this incident here. Looks like Lambert and Erdman had no idea they made contact, and Erdman flies into the forest. So the Citroen team going to have to try and recover that car real quickly, as the cars are going to make their way around the track, as they are right now, in fact, for the second attempt at a race restart. As going down the pit lane, we are, as here we go, this is the first time we've had to use a couple race restarts in 2013C, and it's really eerie because typically the only track we need to restart at is Charlotte, although St. Eustache last season, we did use the 3 attempts at a race restart. So they're making their way down the track here. Here comes Lambert in car number 5 to complete the front row of the grid. So on the front row, let's try it again. Lambert, Mertz, Livengood, Smith. 2 works Volkswagens, a works Citroen, a works Mitsubishi. Middle row, a works Ford, or a privateer Ford rather, Tristan Hagenstein. Works Mitsubishi, Chris Wetz. Private Subaru, Jake Pipal. Works Citroen, Cody Erdman. Back row, Private Citroen, Private Subaru, Jake Poulin, Caleb Paul. So, 10 drivers, 6 laps. And the first of the 2 endurance rounds in 2013C. Who's going to win it? As they're rubbing them up, and it's lights out. Away we go. Whole shot again to Livengood. Smith will be side by side, it looks like, with Mertz. 3 wide. Erdman with Pipal and Lambert. Side by side still, as through the middle goes Erdman. Side by side, Smith and Mertz. Let's see if Mertz can get clear. No, they're still beating and banging over the jump, it looked like. Livengood trying to clear them. Right side of the Volkswagen. Interesting camera. We forgot we had these mounted on the cars. It'll be Livengood with Smith, Mertz, Lambert, Poulin, Erdman, Wetz, Hagenstein, Paul, Pipal. Your running order. Livengood slides. Smith is sliding. Contact with Mertz. And Mertz is once again having issues. He ran up the hill, and he's back going again. So, please, once again, don't turn on the 81 radio, because he's probably using a bunch of profanity. Livengood leads, followed by Lambert in car number 5, followed by Poulin. Then it's Wetz. Poulin's in 3rd. That's strange. Wetz, Erdman, Hagenstein, Paul, Smith, Pipal, Mertz. Your running order. And Mertz isn't happy. Caleb Paul running it a little bit wide, nearly sideswiping the 13. Hagenstein sideways. So is Wetz, and you can already see, if I was mean, I would say that everyone's freaking out over the endurance rounds because everyone's tired. As you're going to see fatigue throughout this race. It's a lot longer than all the other races, even though it's 6 laps. As Living Good defending like a champion, behind or in front of, there's the correct word, Brandon Lambert. So 1 down and 5 to go, and it's Living Good, Lambert, Poulin, Wetz, Erdman, your top 5, Smith, Hagenstein, Paul, Paul, and Mertz. So Mertz getting the draft to the 28. Is there a draft on a Rallycross track? That's really debatable. And to the inside goes car number 81. Move him up to P9 as he's furiously trying to work his way back to the front. Lambert off the road, battling with Poulin, nearly makes contact with him, and that's going to put him back a couple spots. As around is Hagenstein, nearly off the front bumper of Caleb Paul, it looked like. As Lambert running it wide and into the sand, he goes in contact between the teammates. So that's going to send him around. As it looks like he's getting out of the sand, he's waiting for everyone to get by. As Poulin running like mad, that's going to put Smith up a spot. So move Smith up to, I believe, P4. Erdman to 2nd. Wetz to 3rd. Smith to 4th. 5th, Poulin. 6th, Hagenstein. 7th, Paul. 8th, Mertz. 9th, Paul. 10th, Lambert. So Living Good. We're going to see the true lap times at the end of this lap, and we're going to see who is running where and who is running how fast. As Living Good trying to pull away. Nearly contact between Smith and Wetz. As Erdman holding down the 2nd spot for Citroen. Hagenstein is in the 5th position, and Mertz has made his way up to 6th after a lap and 3/4. So Living Good rounds his way on the front straightaway here. 2 down, 4 to go. As we begin the 3rd lap here at Island Rally, it's Living Good, Erdman, Wetz, Smith, Hagenstein, Mertz, Paul, Lambert, and Poulin. Looks like Poulin's gone off the road somewhere significant. Battle for 3rd currently heating up. 2 works cars battling. Contact nearly between Wetz and Smith. As looks like Smith almost landed on the 2 of Chris Wetz. As according to lap times, Living Good 35.5, Erdman 35.7, Wetz 36.8, Smith 35.7 to the inside of the 2. Then it's Hagenstein 36.9, Mertz a 35.4. There's your lap times. He is digging. Paul, Lambert, Poulin. So Living Good. A 1/10 of a second, actually 4/100 slower than the 81. Erdman 2nd. Wetz 3rd. Smith 4th. 5th, Hagenstein. So let's go inside car number 81 and see what is transpiring here. Wetz is off the road. And the 81 hard at work as Wetz is off the road again. Up the hill he goes. And that's going to push him, I believe, back to about 6th. As we're on board Living Good. Now Erdman, Smith, Hagenstein, Mertz. Move over to P5. As let's enjoy this lap on board. Car number 81, your 2012 BE champion. We're on lap number 4 now. Looks like Tanner Smith had an issue. And Cody Erdman having an issue there. Teammates nearly make contact. Getting word that Living Good and Erdman made contact for the 2nd consecutive week while battling for the lead. So this is going to move Living Good to 1st. Or Living Good didn't move, but Living Good's still in the lead. Hagenstein, Mertz is 3rd. He's battling with Erdman. Erdman's undercutting the 81. What a move from Cody Erdman. Will he battle with his teammate? They make contact. That's not going to be very good as Mertz is off the road. And all you can hear on the Citroen team radio is, "What are you doing?" So we're going to come to 2 laps to go now for Dylan Living Good in car number 1. Can he hang on and get his first win here at Island Rally? His 2nd win this season and his 5th win overall. We'll see here. Hagenstein 2nd, Erdman 3rd, Mertz is 4th, but holding on from Caleb Paul in car number 7. Lambert, Smith, Paul, Wetz, and it looks like Poulin has broke that. The refurbished steering arm has broken on that Citroen that Mertz drove in 2012A. 2 to go for Livingood in car number 1. His last lap was a 39.669. Erdman's last lap 43.3. Mertz a 40.3. So that the looks like Hagenstein went off the road. The Citroens are moving to 2nd and 3rd. They are coming on a charge. Paul is up to 4th. 5th is Hagenstein. So the top 5 under a blanket. Well, 3rd through 5th is under a blanket for the race victory here. And Livingood running it wide. That's not really good if you want to retain the lead. Livingood off the road. Erdman's in 2nd. Mertz is in 3rd, but he's got 4th and 5th breathing down his neck. The 2 Privateer. This is the title protagonist for the Privateer Cup, as they are battling for a podium position. As Livingood off the road again in car number 1. He is cracking under the pressure, you could say, as Erdman now trying to apply pressure to car number 1. Then Mertz will catch these 2. And you know the 81 is hungry. He has not won for a year. I know I've said this a bunch of times, but try going and winning 7 times as the teammates are swapping places. And a shaky voice over the 81 radio. Hold them up, please. You can tell Mertz is really nervous. He doesn't want to give this possible victory away. As Erdman, nothing over the radio, but he's backed off a tad off of his teammate. So this is going to be a brawl. It's going to be 1 lap to go. Can Dylan Livingood hang on? Let's look at the lap times. 40.510. Mertz is a 35.2. 5 seconds given away from Livingood to Mertz, Erdman, Paul, Hagenstein top 5, 6th Lambert, 7th Smith, 8th Paul, 9th Wetz. So this is going to get good. As Livingood off the road again in car number 1. You can tell Mertz is trying to concentrate on his line as best as he can. As Livingood, we are not going to deviate from this, as I'm hearing that Paul might have an issue. Yes, he does. He's off the road. In car number 28, Chris Wetz is going to try and take that position. As Livingood, driving like mad to hang on to this position. He wants to win his not his 5th consecutive, but his 5th career victory. But the 2 Citroens are not going to allow it. He is not pushing when he should be pushing. Mertz is pushing. And he's getting close. Will this get good? As Livingood is slowing down. Mertz is pushing. Erdman is giving him a little bit of a gap. Caleb Paul is sideways for 4th. The 2 Privateer cars battling. It's going to come down to the final corner and possibly the last couple of feet here at Island Rally. Off the second to last corner goes Livingood, running up the hill towards the final corner. It's a car length and a half between the 2 champions. Who will come out victorious? Mertz is there into the final corner. Livingood takes the apex. Mertz misses it completely, so not a good thing. Off the final corner, it's going to be down to the line. Will Mertz win? No! It's going to be the 5th career victory for Dylan Livingood. Mertz is 2nd. Erdman is 3rd. 4th will be Caleb Paul. 5th is Hagenstein. 6th will be Lambert. 7th is Tanner Smith. 8th place is still exchanging. Who's going to make it towards the line? Battle at the line for 8th. It's Wetz. 9th place is Paul. And 10th will be Jake Poulin in car number 39. As what a final lap that would have been if Mertz could got through the final apex. But nonetheless, what a very good sign for the endurance rounds if we can have that crazy racing throughout Riverside in a couple of weeks' time. So the anthems are playing for your winner, Dylan Livingood, as the podium master did not add the Canadian anthem, as that hasn't happened before. So podium ceremonies are delayed by a moment. As there we go, it sounds like the anthem's playing. There we go. So Livingood is your winner. Then it's going to be It's going to be Merton second, Erdman third, fourth is Paul, fifth is Hagenstein, sixth is Brandon Lambert, seventh Smith, eighth is Wetz, ninth is Paul, 10th is Poulin, 11th Fleming, 12th Paulo, 13th Speed, 14th is Nick Cars, 15th Sherman, 16th Bellamy, then 2 cars without points are Jacob Kraus and Leonardo Bruno. Living Good leads points with 53. Mertz has 47 in second. Third, Erdman 44. Wetz falls to fourth. He has 40. Hagenstein's fifth with 38. Caleb Paul is sixth with 36. Brandon Lambert 7th with 33. Luke Fleming has 30 in 8th. 9th place, Keith Sherman 19. 10th place, Tanner Smith 18. Kraus 11th with 15. Cars 12th with 14. 13th, Paulo with 11. Douglas Speed is 14th with 8. Paul 15th with 8. They are actually tied, but Speed would get the tiebreaker because he's run 2 races over Paul's 1. Poulin has 16 with 7. Simons has 5 in 17th. 18th Stanton with 3. 19th Bellamy with 1. And Bruno is 20th. He did not get any points for finishing 18th. The United States anthem plays for Revolution Racing as the Manufacturers Championship. Mitsubishi has a perfect season aside from missing 1 heat win. They have 62 points. Citroen 50. Subaru 39. Ford 38. And Volkswagen is 33. The Works Constructors Championship getting tied up at the front. Revolution Racing 93, Citroen Total Red Bull World Rallycross Team 91, Volkswagen Monster Energy World Rally Team 51, Mangled Lemons Racing has 33. Semi-Works Championship is Citroen Junior with 45 and Delicia Race Team with 19. And the Privateer Cup, Great Lakes Motorsports 38, Solstice Racing 36. Then it's ATN Autosport with Jake Pipal, with 8 points. Poulin Racing, 7 points. ATN Autosport for Adam Simons, 5 points. Stanton Racing, 3. NOS Energy Rally for Daniel Bellamy has 1 point. And Bruno Racing, 0 points. In the Nations Cup, Canada has 53, Germany 50, so that's getting good. United States 45, Netherlands 38, Norway 18, and Brazil has 11 points. So we will go through the ASN social media while the Japanese anthem plays. Facebook.com/Automotive Sports Network. Twitter.com/ASNTV_USA. Hashtag ASNTVUSA for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+. YouTube.com/ASNTVUSA. And in the future, that will be ASN On Demand and ASN Live as we will slowly phase out our Twitch page. ASNTV.US. And for any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions regarding our broadcasts, ASNTVUSA@gmail.com. As this broadcast was brought to you by Java Shot Designs, if you need any painting done for any of your racing interests, you can contact Adam Sweet at his page at facebook.com/JavaShotDesigns or visit his website at javashotdesigns.com. As Dylan Livingood in car number 1, 2 victories out of 3 races. Can he extend it to 3 victories out of 4? We will see. As I hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the Island Rallycross Round 3 of the 2013 C NASA Rallycross Challenge season. We extend our congratulations to Dylan Livingood, Revolution Racing, and Mitsubishi, as we will see you next week from Charlotte. So long, everyone.